My name is Shinhyun Kim, and I am the president of Alliance for Korea United UW chapter. So I believe that young people should care about Korean reunification because a lot of things are at stake right now. As North Korea abandoned their unification policy last year, and with the population crisis in South Korea, there's many things on the precipice of change, and I think this is a very good opportunity for us to solve a security crisis on the Korean Peninsula. I'm a Korean American, and so I kind of identify with both cultures, and so as a Korean, I know there's so much rich heritage and culture from Korea that I want to try to preserve, and I think that's what the Korean dream is trying to do, tracing back to our Hongik-Ingan ideal. And then just also as an American, I think it's so important to mobilize our Korean Americans. So that's why I wanted to start this chapter right here, so that the Korean diaspora knows what's going on in Korea, so we can promote awareness for this issue.
제가 한인 커뮤니티의 이 행사도 몇 번 했고, 지금 오늘은 제가 UW 학생들 앞에서 했는데, 사실은 우리가 통일 문제가 우리 한국에서 가장 뜨겁게 논의돼야 할 문제인데, 지금 안타깝게도 두 국가론이 존재하고 통일이 점점 멀어지는 것 같아서 너무 안타까워요. 그래서 우리가 이 한행사에서부터 이게 우리가 한민족으로 지내온 지가 이제 70년이 넘고, 우리가 5,000년 역사가 한민족으로 지내왔는데 두 국가론이 웬 말이고 두 민족이 웬 말입니까? 그래서 저는 통일 문제가 이 한인사에서부터 또 뜨겁게 다시 논의가 돼야 된다고 생각을 합니다. 통일된 한국이라는 이 자체는 사실 너무 강력한 이 사회가 된다고 생각합니다. 국가가 되고요. 그래서 우리가 인구도 늘어나고 활용할 수 있는 자원도 늘어가고, 그리고 남북한이 이 시너지가 맺어지면은 뭐 경제력뿐 아니고 국방이나 또 기술 면에서도 저는 이제 많은 발전이 있다고 봅니다. 그래서 통일이 단순히 우리가 뭐 지금 한국에서는 세금도 생각을 하잖아요. 통일 비용의 문제. 통일 비용이 아니고 통일 투자라고 생각하시고요. 그 투자가 나중에는 정말 우리 한반도와 모든 국민에게 이득이 될 거라고 봅니다. 그래서 한반도가 통일이 되면은 정말 자유민주주의 가치를 지키고 그 가치 아래서 화목하게 사는 국가가 되면 좋겠습니다. 네. 이 자유롭고 또 통일된 한반도가 우리가 가져야 되는 목표가 분명하고요. 저는 이 목표를 향해서 한인사회와 또는 이 한국에 계신 모든 분들이 목소리를 내줘서 지금 북한 정권이 내세우는 두 국가론, 또 이 북한 정권을 따라서 두 국가 평화 공존을 외치는 이재명 정부나 또 이제 정치권에 대해서 강력한 경고를 해야 된다고 생각합니다. 네, 그래서 모든 분들께서 목소리를 내주시면 그 목소리가 하나로 합쳐져서 우리가 더 큰 시너지를 가져오지 않을까 생각을 합니다.
북한 이탈 주민이라는 북한에서 온 청년으로서의 어떤 사명감, 그리고 어떤 숙명 같은 정체성이 있기 때문에 저는 이제 북한 인권, 그리고 이제 제 친구들, 제 친척들이 조금 더 나은 삶, 그리고 이제 저는 자유를 맛보았지만 자유를 맛보지 못한 아직 그들을 위해서 제가 할 수 있는 것이 있다면 그게 무엇이든지 저는 하겠다, 이런 마음을 가지고 있습니다. 이제 원 코리아가 된다면 저는 이제 그러니까 교육을 통해서, 그러니까 그들이 아직 민주주의가 무엇인지, 그리고 저는 한국에 와서야 이제 종교라는 게 있다는 걸 알게 됐어요. 그러니까 뭐 스님은 영화에서나 보지만 이제 뭐 종교, 기독교, 뭐 천주교 이런 거에 대해서 전혀 들어본 적이 없고, 민주주의라는 단어 자체도 들어본 적 없고, 저희가 이제 나라 북한의 그 공식 명칭이 조선민주주의 인민공화국이잖아요. 그럼에도 불구하고 그게 민주주의가 어떤 개념인지 몰랐었어요. 그래서 우리가 이제 리더를 뽑을 수 있고, 우리가 우리나라를 위해서 내가 뭔가를 이제 결정을 할 수 있다라는 그 권리가 있다는 것도 몰랐기 때문에 저는 교육을 통해서 이제 그 북한에 있는 사람들도 민주주의와 자유에 대해 알고, 그리고 그 사람들이 이제, 그리고 자유라는 거는 책임이 따르잖아요. 그래서 책임이 따른 그러니까 그만큼 우리가 신중하게 이제 결정을 해야 되는 거고, 그렇다면 이제 내 자유만 중요한 게 아니라 다른 사람의 자유도 중요하다는 걸 알게 되고, 그러면 서로 이제 자연스럽게 우리가 서로 존경하고 뭔가 존중하고 그런 사이가 되지 않을까 생각을 하고, 그리고 정말 질문을 잘하는 사람, 그리고 이제 비판적인 사고를 하는 정말 사람다운 사람의 삶을 살 수 있는 그날이 오기를 바랍니다. 이제 여기 계시는 우리 미국에 계시는 동포분들도 굉장히 많잖아요. 그리고 또 그분들이 뭐 자녀분들도 계실 거고, 그분들이 또 여기 국제사회에서 국제 무대에서 또 큰 한반도의 통일을 위해서 목소리를 낼 수 있고, 그러니까 지속적인 관심과 그리고 또 그 자녀분들한테도 이제 그냥 역사가 아니라 정말 스토리로 그 이야기를 전해준다면 그게 남북한의 통일을 앞당기는데 큰 역할을 할 수 있지 않을까 생각합니다.
Alright, good evening everyone, and thank you so much for being here tonight to our panel event, Voices from North Korea, hosted by your very own Alliance for Korea United chapter here at UW. My name is Namsik Yu, and I serve as the Director of Youth Programs at Alliance for Korea United, and I am honored to be your moderator tonight. We're truly honored to have two incredible speakers joining us here in person, Hyun-Sung Lee and Ji-Han Kim. Both are North Korean escapees with powerful personal stories, and they're now using their voices to raise awareness about the realities of life in North Korea, as well as to advocate for human rights and peace on the Korean Peninsula. So let's give a quick round of applause for having them come here all the way from DC and Illinois. And also thank you to all of you for spending your Wednesday evening here with us here. I know it's the start of the quarter. You guys just came back from spring break, and so I really appreciate making the time to come out and hear directly from our speakers, to learn and be educated, and want to be part of this movement. So thank you so much. Just to give a quick overview of how tonight will go, we'll begin with just a brief introduction to our organization, Alliance for Korea United, and the work that we're doing to advance a free and unified Korea. Then each of our speakers will come up and share their story and experiences. After that, we'll open up things for a Q&A session where you guys can directly ask any questions that you have to our speakers. If you see in front of you, you also see these sticky notes on your table. These are kind of like for if you have questions that you want to ask anonymously, maybe like something somewhat more personal or whatnot. I know like there's a lot of things that you're curious about, but maybe too embarrassed to say in person or out loud. So if you want to ask your questions anonymously, please do so, and we'll have one of our team members collect those right before the Q&A session. But hopefully a lot of you guys are able to, are inspired to ask a question directly to our speakers once Q&A starts. After that, we'll wrap up with a few closing announcements from our AKU UW chapter. And after that, we'd love for you to stick around, connect with our speakers. We'll also have cookies that you can grab, and you can also check out our resource table. Let's have a great evening. So thank you so much for coming. I'd like to first start by introducing our organization, Alliance for Korea United, what we're about, why is it that we talk about Korean unification, what is the work that we are doing to try to advance this really lofty, noble goal. So I first want to show a quick intro video. This one. Sorry about that.
원래 하나였던 것들은 다시 하나로 만나야 한다. 모두가 함께 꾸는 꿈이 한반도 통일이 되기를. 원더풀 원 코리아. 널리 세상을 이롭게 하는 통일 국가의 꿈, 코리안 드림.
Okay, so last year, which was 2025, actually marked 80 years since Korea's liberation from Japanese colonial rule. This was a moment that had symbolized the hope for a free, independent, and unified Korea at that time, August 15th, 1945. Unfortunately, that dream was cut short. In the aftermath of World War II, the Cold War powers had divided the Korean peninsula across the 38th parallel. And following the Korean War, which is often called the Forgotten War, the Korean people have now lived divided for over eight decades, not by their own choice, but by force. So what are the consequences of this division across the Korean peninsula? Well, today, over 25 million people living in the north are living under one of the most oppressive regimes in the world, facing severe human rights abuses. On top of that, millions of families were separated post-Korean War, and as time is going on, they are having fewer and fewer chances to be able to reunite with their loved ones. And lastly, this isn't just simply a Korean issue, it is a global one. North Korea continues to pose one of the biggest international security threats, contributing to conflicts abroad, whether it be in the Middle East, supplying nuclear proliferation to Iran, or it be sending their soldiers to fight in the Russia-Ukraine war. And so the thing that we really want to emphasize is that what happens on the Korean Peninsula not only affects the Korean people, but will have huge implications globally as well. And despite decades of diplomatic efforts since division, little to no progress has actually been made toward peace, largely because of a lack of a clear shared vision for Korea's future. So we believe that the way forward is a vision called the Korean Dream. The Korean Dream is a vision that's coined by Dr. Hyunjin Preston Moon, author of the book of that name. And it represents a shared aspiration to reunite Korea and build a nation that's rooted in fundamental freedoms, human rights, and Korea's founding ethos known as Hongikingan, which translates to benefiting all humanity. And so for us, we see reunification not merely as a political goal, but it's really about restoring this sense of identity and heritage, the shared identity among all Korean people, whether in the north, in the south, or part of the diaspora. And so we believe that a unified Korea that's rooted in the vision of the Korean Dream would allow the reunification of divided families, liberating the North Korean people from systematic human rights abuses, as well as building a nation that can serve as a model of peace and hope for the rest of the world. But history has shown that for any kind of large transformation to occur, governments alone cannot achieve this. That is why we emphasize a bottom-up grassroots movement for change. Back in 2012, Action for Korea United was launched in South Korea as a citizen-led movement for unification. And today, it has now grown to become the largest civil coalition in South Korea's history with over 1,000 partner organizations. And here in the US, the Alliance for Korea United is building on that foundation, mobilizing Korean Americans, students, global allies to raise awareness and take action. And so one of the key initiatives that we started early 2025 last year was the Korean Dream Campus campaign, which this panel event is directly a part of. We started this campaign to bring this conversation and dialogue at the top universities all across the US, engaging students with North Korean escapees, policy experts, to really not only be educated, but engage with these issues in a very meaningful way in terms of what are the realities of North Korea. Why is it that unification is so significant, not only for the Korean Peninsula, but for the region of Northeast Asia and globally? And so we've partnered with over 15 universities, some of the big name ones including Stanford, Princeton, UCLA, UC Berkeley, University of Chicago, and your very own University of Washington here, which is the first event that we're doing, hosted by our chapter organization. And so we're super grateful to be able to come here on your campus to discuss these issues with all of you here. Our goal is to continue to reach more campuses, engage more students, and grow this youth-led movement for a free and unified Korea. Because ultimately, it is the next generation, our generation, that will carry this vision forward in a very substantial way. And so, I invite all of you to be part of this growing grassroots movement. If you'd like to learn more, I highly encourage that you check out the Korean Dream book, which goes a lot deeper and more in detail with this vision of the Korean Dream. We have copies on display for you to check out after the event, and it is also available on Audible if you prefer an audiobook as well. You can also follow us on social media, visit our table after the event, and connect with our team. We'd love to talk more and engage with all of you who are interested in this issue. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker for tonight's panel event. Hyun-Sung Lee is a North Korean escapee and human rights advocate working to raise global awareness about conditions inside North Korea. Before defecting in 2014, he worked in the country's shipping and mining industries and served as a sergeant in the DPRK Army Special Forces. Since arriving in the United States, he has advised policymakers and organizations such as the Global Peace Foundation, the Committee for Human Rights in North Korea, and frequently contributes analysis to outlets like Voice of America, Radio Free Asia, and NK News. And back in 2023, he had founded the North Korea Young Leaders Assembly, NKYLA, which is a leadership program connecting North Korean escapees with policymakers and global experts to equip them with the skills and the experiences to become changemakers and leaders, advocating for the issue of human rights in North Korea and peaceful reunification on the Korean Peninsula. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to our first speaker, Hyun-Sung Lee.
Hello. Hi guys. Thank you so much for having me, and this is great setting, and it is my honor to be here at UW. So on the way to Seattle, I got the information that President Trump gave a special direction to Delta Force and CIA to remove Kim Jong-un after Cuba, and this is my April Fool's Day joke. But I wish to hear one day Kim regime is collapsed by internal, the people who want to change the society. And so going back to my background, so as Namsi already mentioned, I grew up in Pyongyang, North Korea, the center of the North Korea, the regime, and I was raised as elite kid, and I had a different background with my colleague here, my friend Jiang. So I was a city boy. I was brainwashed from my early age, and I was taught to be loyal to the regime and to serve the regime. So giving some background how North Korean regime is brainwashing you from like very early age. And when you enter the North Korean kindergarten, you learn two things in the first day. One is who should we respect the most in the world? And obviously Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il. And then the second thing is who are our enemies? It's number one, United States. Number two, the South Korean puppets. So we are taught in the first day of a kindergarten the two things, most important things in North Korea. And as grow up in like elementary school, studying the middle school, high school, this education continues in your whole life. So most North Korean young children and even like the early news, they are so, I wouldn't say, they don't know they are brainwashed, but their like brain is programmed to believe what North Korean regime says and also to follow the orders North Korean regime give. That's why, you know, I will give you more background later, but that's why in now Russian-Ukraine war, the North Korean soldiers, 15,000 soldiers, they committed suicide with the bomb without any hesitation. So they believe, committing suicide with the bomb is honorable, the spirit of their life, and they can protect your leader and your family members back in North Korea. That's why. So after my high school, so same education I had. So I joined the North Korean military, and in North Korea the military service is mandatory service. It's like most people serve more than 9 years. 9 years. But I served 3 years and 4 months. And later we have a system that the kids who had a good scores at your high school and you performed well in your military, and the military unit have a program to promote you to the school. So I was in the program and I got selected, so I transferred to university where I originally got admission from. So I joined University of Pyongyang Foreign Studies. But before I explain more, I give you more background about the North Korean military life. When you see North Korean media, like they are very beautiful, like marching and then big weapons parade, and Kim Jong-un showed up and then he is clapping, wearing leather jackets, and he always giving directions to like military to something. He never served military, by the way. And then he directs something and then give general instructions, like teaching something, how should they develop the military. I don't know how he knows or any knowledge on technology, the defense technology, but somehow he's giving directions. Every the engineers and the generals write down. If not, and then they'll be punished. It's not a joke, it's true. So Kim Jong-un now giving all the military the directions, and what we see in the media is the things they wanted to show. But the reality of the military life is far beyond your thinking. And I wish I had the PowerPoint, but because of my laziness and I couldn't prepare for it. So, but I'll be better at next time. Anyone who wants to see my PPT, I will send it to you. So the first unit I joined, and actually we didn't have any roof on our base or the camp, so we built ourselves. And in the rainy day, like today, we just sat outside to eat our lunch, and we didn't have a proper the bathroom. So every morning we hold toothbrush and then one towel, ran to the stream. So that's our daily routine. We don't have any expect warm water or hot water system. So that's normal, like a military environment. But if you have there are some better units. Units with the better environment, but normal military backgrounds, they do have nothing very ordinary well-built system there. And then training, I was asked by many media and the even DOD, the now DOW, the Department of War people asked about what's the life in North Korean military and what training you guys have, and even today, until today, most North Korean soldiers spend 50% of the time to farming. They collect food, collect ooze for fuel, and they never spend on training because North Korean government cannot supply the things they're supposed to supply, give to soldiers. So, and then after the 30% of time is spent on the ideological education. So every morning we have 2 sessions, 12 sessions to study government policy and also history or policy of the Kim family regime. So, and then the 20% of time we just, do training. So when I said that every year we are required to shoot 3 bullets per year, not more than 3 bullets, and here in US or South Korea they laughed. How can you guys fight against modern military in the US or South Korea? That I thought that they couldn't because they are so behind. But we figured out that in the Russian-Ukraine war, they were quite doing well. And they only trained 1 year with the modern warfare, but they are doing really good at this war, field. So I would say North Korean soldiers are more brainwashed and they got spirit to fight in this field. So even though I just explained what North Korean soldiers are traded in their military back to North Korea, but they, once there was a mission or order from the government or leader, they could perform well. And after my military service, so I joined the North Korean Workers' Party, the membership. It is very crucial, the milestone for your career in North Korea. If you are not a member of North Korean Workers' Party, you cannot develop any career in North Korea. You cannot even like a local government, government employee. So you can only work like a worker or a farmer without any membership. So I joined North Korean Workers' Party, and later I moved to China because my father was high-ranking, and he assigned a job in China to introduce market economy in North Korea. So it was a quite good time, like late 2006 or 7, and North Korea was trying to adopt market economy. So my dad and other people, they tried to introduce market economy into North Korea, and they wanted to follow Chinese model. And China was, we thought that China was not ideal, but after Olympic 2008, China grew so much and so fast, and that impressed the most North Korean elites and North Korean leadership. So they wanted to follow Chinese the model. But as you guys know, in late 2013, Kim Jong-un suddenly killed his uncle-in-law, Jang Sung-tae, which is, top 2, the second popular person in North Korea. And then along with Jang Sung-tae, he killed more than hundreds of officials and purged their family members, extended family members. So during the purge, I lost 2 personal friends. And then my sister also lost her roommates in Chinese dormitory. And then my father also lost several friends, close to friends. That purge, the time was not not just miserable. The time was really dark in North Korea. No one would, challenge the Kim Jong-un. No one was complain about that, because if somebody complained, if somebody talks about the purge, the family immediately removed from Pyongyang city. And especially my sister's, roommate, they were studying in Chinese college, and I know her friend's father already arrested in Pyongyang a month ago, but she was still there. They had a hope that her father was released, but suddenly after the class, normal day class, my sister's friend doing, the North Korean agents came to their dorm and they grabbed her and took her to Pyongyang. And my sister's roommate texted her while she was on the route to Pyongyang and just to pack my stuff. Can you pack my stuff and then send back to Pyongyang, the home address? So my sister packed her stuff and then sent back to Pyongyang, her home, but no one exists. They already removed by the regime and the whole family, so no one there. And that shocked my sister, so she collapsed that day. She cried a lot and she came back to dorm from home, and I think she was very upset, and then she couldn't say about bad things about the regime, but she only kept asking that what did she wrong? She's just a student. Why her family, entire family, should be treated like this? But it's not just one miserable story. Then also my friend who studied in Chinese college too. He was a much younger guy than me, but her grandfather was part of the Kim Jong-un's Ants Association. So that his grandfather was retired like 3 years ago. But Kim Jong-un decided to remove all Kim Jong-un's ants association. So he Kim Jong-un killed around 20 people. The people who really supporting Kim Jong-un's aunt. And then my friend's grandfather was part of it. And suddenly, I was in Pyongyang May 2014. I had a dinner with him, and I at the time I was doing business between China and North Korea as a North Korean official. So I went back to China, and then later September I came to Pyongyang again, and I was trying to find him to have a dinner. His family gone. No one is exists anymore. So I asked friends where they are, and he told me entire family, father executed with the anti-craft machine guns, and then him and then his siblings were sent to Polk prison camp. So this type of news and this type of incidents kept going on the whole year from 2013 to 2014 before I escaped. So eventually my family made a conclusion that this is not the regime who serve the people. This is not the leader we can believe or serve for. So we decide that we define Kim Jong-un is not a human being. It's a brutal dictator. We cannot trust him. We cannot believe him. We won't serve him. So eventually we decide to escape. So that was the day, October 2014. After our escape, our life was not that easy. So we went to South Korea, and then because of the North Korean regime and Chinese government chasing us, so we had to hide underground. So we were in safe house for 5 months without any cell phone, electric devices, without internet. So it was a quite good time for me to read some books. And then later, after released from the safe house to the South Korean society, we heard that it was informed by the South Korean government. North Korean regime is rigorously tracking us. They're trying to find us. So we have to change our birthday, name, the history, whole thing. And even we were issued by the ID, the South Korean citizenship, and then when you see the citizenship, you will see the home address there. But our citizenship's home address is not the same one we are exactly living. Because I asked why you guys make this, such a big deal, and then they said, once it is on the police system, North Korean regime will take over, and then they can track you, and so they can send you some, the spies to kill you guys. So we were very, low key. We didn't do any public activity, and because of that, we couldn't find any job in South Korea. Because if I want to apply a job, I need to submit a resume, and I explain my history, and then it is big change and whole when I apply graduate school in the United States, because of my real name undergraduate, and then my current name is different, whole university. So I have to get another certification from the South Korean government and US side. So that's So that we changed the whole history. We very low key. We didn't do any public activity. But guess what? North Korean regime find out that we're in South Korea, and they eventually pulled my grandma and uncle and aunt on the North Korean TV show that threatened us to come back to Pyongyang. So that was a pretty big signal to my family that if we all keep living in South Korea or doing collaboration with the South Korean government, they might harm or kill my extended relatives, including my grandma and uncle and aunt. So, and that's why we had to decide again to move to US. So, eventually 2016, whole family moved to United States, and we also, kept underground for several years, and later. My family decided that we didn't escape for our own safety. We escaped to do something good for the people rest of in North Korea. So from late 2017, we came forward that speaking about internal affairs and then human rights, and also the structure of the Kim regime, how North Korean regime systematically oppress the people, systematically evade sanctions, and how those monies were contributed to the missile and nuclear program, and how North Korean regimes, the whole system is a slavery system, even those people who are perceived as an elite. So when I was asked the question so you were in the elite class, you may be part of the Kim regime, and so why did you escape? And I've been asked the question several times, so I told them. So even though those people, like TV show on North Korean TV around the Kim Jong-un all the time, they are actors, very modern Hollywood actors. They think they show on the TV in front of Kim Jong-un showing their loyalty, but in back they are so afraid. Being, killed, being, executed, but they have no choice but to follow. No one had a choice in North Korea. Even today, I don't think anyone have choice. If they have choice, North Korea won't be the same situation right now. So I defined, North Korean elite group like this. It's more like a comfort without freedom. It's more expensive version of the prison. So it's same like a slavery prison, but they are more silver. If that's steel cage, they are in a silver cage, but same treatment without freedom. So that's the only difference. So I will conclude my presentation, but I prefer Q&A more than my presentation. So I look forward to the Q&A session. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Hyun-sung, for sharing your personal story of growing up in North Korea, and also the exact turning point that motivated you and your family to escape North Korea in pursuit of freedom. I think it's something that many of us it's hard to think about in just day to day in terms of the life that we live, and so it's a truly a rare experience that we can hear directly these kind of experiences, but not only hear the experiences, understand that based upon that courageous decision to escape, the work that is now being done to advocate for change in North Korea, advocate for peace, advocate for unification. This is the work that the escapees, including Hyun-sung, is leading. And so let's give another big round of applause to Hyun-sung. Our speakers definitely do prefer more of an intimate Q&A back and forth with you all, and so please have a lot of questions prepared. I'd like to now introduce our second speaker for tonight's panel event. Ji-hyun Kim is a North Korean escapee and a 2025 to 2027 Fulbright scholar pursuing graduate studies in curriculum and instruction at the University of Illinois Chicago. Born in Haesan, North Korea, she resettled in South Korea in 2016 and continued her education with a strong commitment to academic achievement and social impact. Her work focuses on literacy education and supporting students with learning challenges, and she is passionate about using education as a tool for empowerment and for shaping the future of the Korean Peninsula. Please join me in welcoming our second speaker, Ji-hyun Kim.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I would like to continue this conversation by sharing my own story. My story will be very different from Hyun-sung Lee's story because I think my story will be like more micro version of North Koreans' like ordinary life in North Korea. I would like to start with a question. What would it feel like if every thought you had was like already decided for you? I don't have to imagine. I don't have to imagine that because I grew up in a place where it was reality. I remember sitting in a classroom when I was elementary school, and where everything we learned was already decided for us. The teacher wrote sentences on the board, and then we repeated the sentences word by word. But no one asked questions. It was not because we understood everything, because we knew it was not supposed to think differently. In North Korea, thinking doesn't feel like something you create. It feels like something you receive, like food, and also like rations. My thoughts are already decided for me even before I even speak. Of course, we could make choices like what to eat for lunch or dinner, but when it comes to bigger things for your life or your futures, those choices were already made for us. We don't have any choices and any like dreams for that. And over time, something even more frightening happens. you start realizing you're not thinking for yourself. At the time, I thought it was normal because I haven't seen any other word. So, and then I didn't know there was another way to learn or another way to think. In school, education was not about understanding or critical thinking because you are not allowed to ask questions. Just memorization and obedience. We were taught that what to believe, what to say, even what to feel. In 2012, I was in China, and then I heard on the TV news that Kim Jong-il had died, and I cried. But even now, I don't fully understand why I cried. And it wasn't just me. During that time, whenever I just turned the TV, everyone in North Korea, they were crying on the streets, and with in a great sorrow. You can just see how they feel, how they feel so sad. I think looking back, I realized it wasn't just emotion. It was something you had been taught to feel. But as I grew older, I started to notice something small things, and small contractions. What I was taught in school, and what I see in reality. Things that didn't quite make sense. Speaking of motivation, why I escaped from North Korea, I would like to introduce my hometown. This little city is Haesan. I was born and raised in Haesan, just next to the Yalu River, the border between North Korea and China. It's really tiny city. And every night, I could see the bright lights from the Chinese side. And, okay, I will show you this video. This is China side. And this is North Korean side. Very dark. This is night, and this is during the day, very different. And as a child, I kept wondering, what is that place like? It's very close. You can see, and if you say hi, the person who is in Chinese side, you can hear them. And what kind of life do people live in there? I was so curious about it. Whenever I saw the bright lights in Chinese side, at first it was just curiosity. Just wanna explore a new world. I have never been there. But later, the curiosity became something much stronger. In 2009. The North Korean government carried out a currency reform, and almost overnight, people lost the value of everything they had. There was no exception for my family as well. We struggled and we starved. We faced a level of hardship that changed how I saw my future. And that was the moment when curiosity turned into determination.
I no longer just wondered about the world beyond the river. I felt I need to go to survive and to understand what life could be beyond the river. I would like to talk about human rights in North Korea in daily life. It's really similar, as Hyun-sung said, in military life in North Korea. Like food is not enough for everybody, and that was one of my motivation to escape from North Korea. And when I turned to 15, I tried to leave North Korea like 4 times. On my third attempt, I was caught in China, and I was sent back to North Korea. When I returned to North Korea, I was taken detention facilities. I won't go into all the details, but I remember being in a small room about less than 200 square feet. It was much smaller than 200 square feet. It was early March. The cold haven't left yet. More than 20 people were inside, like a very small room. And then no sunlights. And I just drew something like sketch on my iPad, and then I just let the ChatGPT made this. But it didn't understand my direction, maybe. It's much bigger than, it created a much bigger room than I directed. So this is the restroom, also bedroom. So, and then just above the iron bar, there is a speaker, and then also a surveillance camera can see you, like your every movement. And then when you go to like restroom, the camera just is watching you. And then it was like so embarrassing. So I haven't been. I just decided not to eat because I don't want to go to restroom. So I was in the detention camp like 26 days, and then almost like 1 week I haven't had like any food, and then I was so hungry. But the food was not then like normal food. There is no rice, just like corn. It's like overcooked, so the corn will be like very big. You know, you can just count them like how many corns are there, and then there is no like side dishes, nothing, just soup. But the soup, like we call that like a 상점장 because 상점 means kind of like public store, so distribute like a food to everybody. But the jam, like the sauce, is kind of like very it's not thick at all, so you can just smell it from the soup. This is the human rights that I've seen in North Korea and I experienced. From 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I had to sit on the floor. It's like very cold, with legs crossed and my hands on my knees. I was not allowed to move, only during meals and a 10 minutes break a day. and swearing was normal, and physical violence was not unusual thing in the small room. And eventually, I made it out. When I arrived in South Korea, I encountered something completely unfamiliar. People ask questions like, what would you like to do, and what do you want to be, or what do you want to study? And then I finally found my answers. I want to study education. And then they started to ask me like, why did you choose education? This is they asked me like so many questions. I have never thought about it, and they're not only allow me to answer something. They were expect you like, and this was the biggest differences between North and South Korea, I think. At first, I was so confusing because I didn't know how to respond. Because I had spent my whole life learning how to repeat answers, not how to create them. Today, I see education in a completely different way. Education is not about reading words. I see it's about learning how to read the word. It gives people the ability to question, to challenge, and to imagine something different. This is why I care education so much, especially for students who come from difficult or marginalized backgrounds, because I knew what it feels like living without voices. And I know what it means to finally find one. When I think about future of Korean Peninsula, I don't think about politics or policies or like government level. I think about people. And I believe education and advocacy and global awareness will play a crucial role in shaping that future. Because real change doesn't just happen at the top. It begins with how people think and how they understand others and how they choose to act. But to me, empowerment means something more than that. It means creating opportunities for North Korean escapees to become leaders, people who can stand on a global stages, raise their voices and speak for themselves, not through someone else. And then not as a victims, but as agents of change. My story is not only about North Korea, it is about what happens when people are not allowed to think. If education has the power to control people, I strongly believe it also has the power to free them. But freedom is not just something you are given, it's something you choose to use. So the real question is, what will you do with your voice? And what will you do with the freedom to think? Thank you for listening.
Wow. Thank you so much to our second speaker for tonight's event, Ji-hyun Kim. It was actually my first time hearing her story. First time that she's participated in one of our Korean Dream Campus campaign events, and I just it keeps repeating in my mind. What will you do with your voice? Like the fact that ever since she was born, the thoughts that she had in her mind were already determined for her, and the fact that now she is using her freedom of conscience to educate herself, but also use education as a tool to serve a greater purpose is very noble and really amazing. So thank you so much, Jian Kim. Let's give her another round of applause. So it's now time for our exciting Q&A session with our guest speakers. So if we can have Hyun-sung and Jian come up to the front, that would be great so that we can face our audience. And I think we'll have Shraddha come around. If you had written a question on your sticky note, if you could please pass it to the end of your table, she will come around and collect those. And hopefully we'll have the time to pick a few of them at the end of our Q&A session. But so in terms of Q&A, let's see here. If you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand. And when you ask your question, you can briefly introduce yourself by stating your name and let us know who your question is directed to, either Hyun-sung or Jihyun or to both. Yes, and then we'll also pick some of the anonymous question speaking notes. So, who would like to ask the first question to our speakers? Please raise your hand. Yes, right here.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Singh. Either of you, my question is, what preconception do you find that Westerners have of North Korea that is the most different from actual reality?
That's a really good question. Perceptions, there are many. So the people who understood North Korea, they, people who kept followed North Korean news, but many, people who just superficially received information only from North Korean media, I found out that they are advocating North Korean regime actually. So if you go in Reddit community, there was a group called North Korea and different Reddit subcommittee, and you will find lots of people actually advocating North Korean regime. And then when I posted something on the Reddit, and there was a bunch of attacks I received daily basis, and then they keep calling me, "You're the liar," and North Korean regime they do better, all the media they presented North Korean media as evidence. So I told them there's a clear difference North Korean regime propaganda and the reality. So I hope you guys understand it. But they don't want to see the Voice of America, RFA, all those medias are all run by CIA. So yeah, the differences. So.
I would like to share more different story. I think most people outside of North Korea, they tend to think North Korea is a very brutal society, where people can live. But inside of North Korea, I think there are much more because in the past in South Korea, people they love to and sharing food with the neighbors was daily life in South Korea as well. But nowadays it's rarely it is rarely seen sharing food with neighbors. even just next door, you know. To be honest, I don't know like even my neighbor's name or neighbor's, you know. It's really sad that in North Korea I still have like a beautiful memories, like sharing food with my neighbors, and then we know each other. Like even I know what the dinner menu like my neighbors would have. So like we share the not only information, like we also sharing our emotions, our lives. So I think it's the most different like perception people have outside.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Yes, gentleman in the back.
Hi, I'm doing a Korean studies at UW, and like my teacher was telling me how like nobody can really say what's happening in North Korea because it's not like reliable, you know. But like I was just like, and then there's these different perceptions that go around, you know, with media or like defectors. Like, do you guys get to travel, like living in North Korea? Do you get to see how other people live, and how do you feel like your experience there? Is it like very unique to your area, or is it kind of common throughout North Korea? I don't know if you speak on that, but just like it's just hard to understand what it's like at all. So I really appreciate you guys sharing.
Thank you for the question. So in North Korea, even like within, we are not allowed to move randomly without any government-issued travel document. That's the rule. And so without that travel document, you can even cannot stay in hotels. So in my whole life, like 30 years almost, I never been in the North Korean hotel, like without any travel documents. But the travel document is, it's not easily get, because if you don't have any like business there, then you cannot get one. So like a family trip, you don't even dream about it. So like North Korean regime, like they blocked the movement from province to province, cities to city. Especially getting into Pyongyang is so extremely tough. There are like multiple layer of the checkpoints. So each checkpoint, they check your citizenship in Pyongyang. They do have a Pyongyang citizenship. So very funny, but it's a Pyongyang citizenship and also North Korean citizenship. So if you're not Pyongyang citizen, you cannot get in. You have to have your travel documents. So yeah, that's the reality. And then, but there's exceptions, bribery. So bribery works everywhere. So you can bribe them like checkpoint soldiers and even local government officials to get the travel document, or even without the travel document, they actually travel. And then when they face troubles, and they just give the money. So that's, most people nowadays do.
I would like to share just a little bit different story. Like, I was born and raised in Haesan, like just border between China and North Korea. So, like Hansong said, it's really hard to get into Pyongyang city. But as a border city, Haesan is one of the more difficult city you can get in. So living in a border city, there is unpredictable, unnotified check, just checking days. You have no notification, and then suddenly, during the dinner, someone just knocked your door, and then if I go out and open the door, there are several officers are there, and then I just wanna see who is inside, and then they just get come inside, and then they just open our closets and something like that. So it's normal. So it's extremely like limited and restricted to travel to another city. So if you there are always exceptions. If someone is in our home, like with dinner, like and then they speak like different accent from different region, like we should explain like who is this person, and then this is my relatives or something, and then we give some money or like cigarettes, yeah, for bride. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that question.
To give more background a little bit, like, so what Jia mentioned is the police randomly, they check the houses. So if they found someone not supposed to be in their house, and they will drag him. So they check the travel document. Without any travel document, they can keep them in the prison, like for several days or like that. So that's what she meant. So police is randomly, they are checking housing every day.
The gentleman right here.
Yeah. I'm BJ. I have a bit of a loaded question, but do you believe in Korean reunification? And if so, what do you think it looks like, and what do you think needs to change for that to happen?
Great question. Yes, I believe the Korean unification is the only solution to solve human rights violations and the nuclear issues. Without that, I don't think it won't be a stable or peaceful coexistence between North and South. In history, there is no way the two different systems to confront each other, peacefully coexist without any the agreements. But the risk, the big risk is Kim regime. We've been educated like as our whole life, and then our North Korean regime's final goal. It's in the constitution. It's in the party role. North Korean revolution is the final goal. So what North Korean revolution means is to spread out Kim Il-sungism to the whole peninsula, which means the people living in the peninsula should be the nation of the Kim Il-sung. The people who should respect and follow forever Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. And Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il is the one, are the only the leaders, or should be the only leaders of their entire life and then in the future. So that's what Kim Il-sungism meant. And then our final North Korean revolution, the final goal is to realize Kim Il-sungism in the Korean peninsula. And unification is a part of this process by the North Korean tongue. So North Korean regime still execute the military first policy and the military reunification. Instead, but on the other hand, the South Korea now like a different administration, different agenda. Conservative, they make big confrontation against North Korea. But the liberal side, they were trying to more engage with North Korea. So I won't say which one is right, but if there is no reunification, probably South Korea won't be safe anymore. Now North Korea's military capability is growing, and they even have like more than 100 nuclear warheads. US said the 60, but I would say more than 100 nuclear warheads. So the threat is bigger, becoming bigger now.
I would like to add, I wish we could be reunited as one, but I'm not sure. Like, it's really hard to say when we can be reunited. And when I was a kid, like my grandma, she was almost like 80 years old at the time. She always sing like, oh, the reunification will be soon. So, and then the better day will come soon. But it's been 20 more years. But there is nothing like progress. So I wish, and then I will work for the reunification of Korea, but I'm not sure when it will come. But the only thing that I can do now is just doing it. Thank you.
Gentleman right here.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for coming. For both of you, I suppose, in the event that big steps are taken towards Korean reunification, you know, Kim Jong-un passes away, it starts to get closer. China is going to have a lot to say about that, I imagine. I don't know what, though. So what do you think China's response towards reunification attempts would be?
Thank you, Alex. We may assume Chinese role bigger than real, the real power influencing North Korea. That's a big question among political scientists, policy circle in Washington D.C. But I would say if Kim Jong-un is died today, if they elect another leader who is not from Kim family member, who will have a willingness to discuss with U.S. denuclearization or some openness and reform. It depends on that person. If that person doesn't call China to come, and China has no authority or power or any reason to move troops into North Korea. They can deploy troops to the border area, but they are not invited troops if North Korea doesn't invite. So if that person called the United States, hey, can you come to us to protect us? Yep, US Army can join. So it depends on the person. So if not North Korean regime collapsed, and then there might be internal fighting, against each other, like special force and the Storm Corps, or not internal fighting, and that's why China can join, Russia can join. I don't think that's not the chaos we expect. North Korean regime still runs very strict system. I experienced two leaders passed away. They died. Like 1994, Kim Il-sung died. It was very well, performed by the leadership. Kim Jong-il was there, and when Kim Jong-il dies, and Jang Sung-taek and Kim Jong-un, they control the whole system. So when the leader dies, they close the border for 3 days, and they call all the powerful person in Pyongyang in one place, even like military leaders, party leaders, and then administrative leaders from the regions who can mobilize people. So they said that we will do a conference in Pyongyang. So no one actually can execute something in the regional level. And then once they elected the leader, they announced it, our leader passed away. So next leader is who? And, for the short period of time, there won't be a chaos. After several years or months, maybe someone military leader doesn't like a new leader, so he can confront. So, but what I'm saying is, during that short period of time, 6 months or even less, we need to convince him to accept the deals South Korea, United States can offer, not receiving the deal from China or Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my thought. Yeah.
Because whoever wins in that
Yeah.
wrestling match
Yeah.
suddenly inherits 100 nuclear warheads. So
That's correct.
I imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would like to add. You wanna go first?
Oh, there's some Go ahead.
Thank you.
How did you escape?
I crossed the Yalu River. Yeah, with the boat. It's technically it's not a boat. It's for smuggling boat. It's for smuggling boat. So it was a very big tube, and then they made nets inside, so they can load something some stops on it. But I was on the net, and then someone from China side, he just pushed the boat to the China side. Yeah.
Thank you for that question.
No, GM just to mention it's not big things, but many people who attempt to escape, they detained and tortured and then imprisoned. So many people. These are the people who escaped across the border. the rare cases. So that's why we only have 35,000 escapees, and North Korean population is 26 million. So imagine that how many people would die during the journey. Yeah.
Yes.
So many questions.
Go ahead.
To finish answering the question.
No.
China,
Oh.
like, were you done answering that one?
What was the question again?
Yes.
If not, I can just ask.
Yeah.
You can-
Go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, my name is Jamie. When it comes to unification of Korea, you were talking about how brainwashing is so extreme in North Korea, like from birth. And I know it's hard to talk on what other people think because no one has mind reading. But do you personally believe that people living in North Korea would be able to adapt to a life that's not under the Kim regime? Like, do you think they can give up their brainwashing eventually if unification happened?
That's very good question. I think it would be case by case and person by person because like young people in North Korea, they noticed something like a difference like me. So they watch like South Korean dramas, and then they also watch like some movies from the United States, and then they knew there is something like in different world. So in South Korea, like people from young people, like young North Koreans, they are very quickly picked up the new things in South Korea, and then they are very they settled very well in South Korea as well. But like my mom, like mom's generation, it's really hard. But my mom is doing okay right now. But I'm not sure like if you watch the documentary drama called Beyond Utopia, right? And there is a grandma. She was about 65, and then she just escaped from North Korea directly to South Korea. So she doesn't have any like time to adapt like the difference. And then at the end of the documentary, she told that it's really hard to like swearing to like Kim Jong-un, but I think there is something wrong. The grandma said like that. So it takes time, but for young people it will be easier. But for the older people, I think it's possible to change and see something different.
Thank you. What Jia mentioned was the documentary called Beyond the Utopia, and then the documentary is rescuing escapee family from the China side once they cross the border. And then at the end of the documentary, the producer asks about the Kim regime, how you can say about the Kim regime, but the 7 years old the grandma still praising Kim Jong-un, even though she escaped. So that's how the brainwashed people are so difficult to perceive the reality. So what I'm saying is, what I can suggest is maybe North Korea should have like autonomy for 10 years. So to fill the gap between like knowledge gap, educational gap, cultural gap, economy, financial, like whole things. It's not easy to adapt to new reality. And even like they were so behind of the such systems. So they need some time to develop their own. If not, there might be the conflict between North and South. And even like when I was in China as a North Korean overseas student, it took me 3 years to perceive the reality. And I rejected for 3 years the information I was watching on the internet, because I thought that the information was created by South Korea's intelligence service or CIA. That's what education we had before. Before I go to China, the North Korean regime took 3-4 days taught me that do not ever believe what you see on the internet or like in the media, because it's all created by CIA or the South Korean government. So it was trying to tempt you to believe that. So but for the 3 years, I take the information and then I compare the information, and then you realize who's the liar. So yeah, so needs some time. Yes.
Thank you so much for that question. We'll do one more, and then
There's
go
two
to
more
the,
questions.
Go to the anonymous rapid fire. I know that a lot of you do have a lot of questions, but don't worry, we'll have time after the event where you guys can come and continue asking any questions that you weren't able to our speakers. So we'll do one last question. This gentleman right here.
Yes, thank you. My name is Jing La, and I also see some North Korean students in China. I'm from China, and but my question is maybe very sensitive. That is, I have heard a theory. I told this theory to one of the members of your organization yesterday. That is, this theory said actually the unite of Korean Peninsula would hurt everyone's interest. That is, United States, China, Russia, and maybe even Japan, they do not want to see a united Korean Peninsula. Because if Korean Peninsula is a one country, that country would have very extremely powerful nuclear power, and nuclear power submarine, and very developed technology from South Korea. So what do you think of that? Do you really think the Korea can be united in the future? And my question is, the North Korean government, they didn't collapse or destroy in 1990s, and now they have nuclear power, and I heard they are building nuclear power submarine. So how can they destroy in the future? Yes.
Thank you. That's $1 million question. So we don't know how, and we are trying to change the society from within. I heard the similar, the theory that you mentioned, China, Russia, Japan, and other United States, other countries won't like the unified Korea because it became powerful. But still, United States will be powerful enough, China will be powerful enough, Russia will be powerful enough, even though two Koreas are united. So it doesn't matter the surrounding countries support or not. It's the unification should be the solution for the Korea issue. If not, we have to, the people, we have to just see the people oppressed by the Kim regime, for decades. Now it's almost 8 decades. And then I studied in China too. I thought Chinese reform and openness is a great thing to Chinese people. And that's what we wanted in North Korea back to 2012, 13, 14. And Kim Jong-un suddenly killed his uncle, and he rejected all the reformist policy. The one thing I can tell you, the surprising thing, Chinese government from 1978, the ones you open, reform policy, they were trying to persuade the North Korean government to the exact same thing, reform and openness. That's Chinese government's long-term policy. They never change it. They're still trying to convince North Korea to do reformness and openness. But North Korean regime won. If Kim Jong-un met President Xi all the time, and they said that we will follow Chinese model, Chinese, something, but they never, because openness, reform is collapse of the Kim regime. That's why. So China should, impose something, changing the North Korean society, like if China strongly believe openness reform. And that's the thing. I think, eventually I think the unification will become. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll wrap up with these anonymous questions. We'll do these rapid fire style. And so we have Hyunsung and Jian. Maybe we'll.
You can do it.
Oh, no, you can take it.
Okay. One, just one?
Just one.
Oh,
Well, you can do one at a time.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay, I read the question to both. What brings the greatest sense of satisfaction for you who left North Korea? And what are the most disappointing experience you faced when you actually live in the US and South Korea? The greatest satisfaction for me in living in a freedom country is you can do whatever you want to do, and then unless you forgive that, you can make it. I think that is the biggest satisfaction. And then the most disappointing thing is I think it's for like personal things. I thought like if I go to like China or South Korea, there will be like a paradise or heaven something. Like you never get any sadness or like pain in life, but it was not. After I arrived in South Korea, I realized that there is no paradise. I think that's the biggest. Yeah. Thank you.
I can do the same question.
This will be the last question.
Okay. I got the question. Do you miss North Korea?
Oh.
Since I received this anonymously, can I, write down and then send it back to you anonymously? So, yes, I do. So, I lived there. I lived in North Korea as a North Korean citizen about 30 years. When I left, I was 29. So I have whole history there. I have friends there. My ex-girlfriends there. My the whole military experience, college people, and then high school friends who still in communication. Some of them and then especially North Korean food. I never get any good cold noodle ramen restaurant in South Korea or the United States. No one make the exact same test. So disappointed.
All right, thank you so much. I wish we could have gotten to more questions, but it's already 7:30 and we're on a time constraint, so I also didn't realize how fast the time went by. But thank you so much to all of you for such thoughtful questions, and to our speakers, answering all of them in such great depth. And so if you didn't get a chance to ask, please stick around. Our speakers will stay to interact with all of you, so you can ask any questions that you weren't able to. So that wraps it up for our Q&A session. At this time, I'd like to invite up Shin-hyun Kim, the president of the Alliance for Korea United UW chapter, to share just a few brief remarks about the student organization and what they have planned for this spring quarter. So let's welcome up Shin-hyun.
While this is building up, thank you all for coming. And thank you to the speakers for sharing their insights and their stories. I just want to go over really quickly about our club. So we are a student chapter of Alliance for Korea United. And I'm just going to go over a little bit about what we did last quarter and then also what we'll be doing this quarter so that you guys can stay involved. So last quarter we actually established our club, and so it's a pretty new club. We had 3 meetings. So first we had our introductory meeting, And then secondly, we had our first general meeting where we discussed about an opinion piece by a North Korean defector. And it was about how Radio Free Asia, it was urging the US to support and fund Radio Free Asia, which essentially supplies North Korea with outside reliable information. And then thirdly, we had a documentary screening, Danny from North Korea, which was about Danny and his escape to freedom. So that was last quarter. And this quarter, we have 4 general meetings coming up from 6 to 7 in Savory Hall. And the purpose of general meetings is for us to round out our understanding of the Korean Peninsula and Korean unification, and trying to tie that back to the Korean Dream vision. And so, as you can see, that's the format. We're gonna have greetings and welcomings, and then before I jump into the lesson, I want to comment on the project portion. So, I know that everyone has differing interests here, so we wanted to give an outlet for us to delve into whatever topic of choice that we're interested in, and in regards to Korean unification. And then so the lesson portion is meant to be an outlet for us to present on what we are working on individually. And then lastly would be a discussion about that lesson, and then what projects, and then the other projects that we're doing. And it's meant to be more free-flowing so that, again, we can round out our understanding about the Korean Peninsula issues. On top of our general meetings, we'll be having other future events such as an interactive booth, documentary screening, fundraising, culture night, and then a social so that we can get to know each other better and gain a better sense of community. And then here's our executive board. I just want to show this so that you guys are familiar with our faces. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to come out and talk to us about anything. Lastly, I just want to thank ASUW for funding this event, for the speaker honorarium, as well as the funding, as well as the venue funding as well. So thank you to ASUW. And here are our socials. If you guys want to follow us, keep updated on what we're doing. And yeah, that's all. I tried to make it quick for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, I just want to say I'm very proud of these guys for taking this initiative to start the student chapter here on campus, pioneering the way forward to bring this kind of conversation and dialogue with all of you, the students here at UW, on such pressing and important issues. And so, and they had hosted this event, helped put it together, got the funding for it. So let's give a big round of applause to our AKU campus team. And so I'd like to extend just a few final words of gratitude. First, huge thank you to our speakers, Hyun-Sung Lee and Jiyoung Kim, for coming and sharing the story, the courage, and the ongoing work that you're doing to advance this really meaningful work. So thank you so much. I'd also like to thank the Gold Peace Foundation team for coming to support our event with photos, video. So thank you so much to you guys, and also to all of you for making the time to come out and to learn and to seek interest in these issues, because really, it's not only about North Korea or human rights, but really about the role that each of us can play in shaping a more just and peaceful world. And this situation, this case on North Korea, on the Korean Peninsula, is one of those peace-building projects that we are really trying to, take on and tackle. And we invite all of you to join us in being part of this really, this meaningful movement. So before you head out, we'll have some cookies up here while you mingle and talk talk with our speakers. And please check out our resource table as well if you're interested. And yeah, if anyone is interested in wanting to get more involved with AKU here at UW, please talk to the team here. If you're interested in Alliance for Korea United in general, you can talk to me and to our speakers. And so Yes, thank you so much. And before you guys all leave, we want us to take a group photo with our speakers and all of you here. And so if we could have everyone from the back to the front to quickly come up to the front so that we can take our group photo, that would be greatly appreciated.